Hey guys, Richard Scouten, 3 Mountain Horsemanship. Just going to give you a few quick saddling tips to kind of help things become more efficient for you and maybe even cause your horse to accept saddling a little bit better, so maybe they don't get so jittery or cinchy. There's some tips in here that you can use so that you're smoother and a bit more gentle and your horse can start to accept the saddling process a little bit better. First thing is when I let down my cinches, I set them down. I don't just drop them. If I just dropped it, then that D-ring on the cinch could whack the horse in the knee and kind of cause him to get flinchy about that. So when you drop your cinches, drop them nice and smooth. While I'm on the right side of the horse, I get all of my stuff undone so that when I go to the left side, I can just start cinching them up and do my breast collar. I ride all my saddles, I ride in a breast collar. That's just personal preference and kind of what you do with your horses. Turn her around here so you can see this side. You'll notice that my horse isn't tied. I'll tie a horse up to saddle them, but I won't tie a horse up if they need to be tied to stand still during the saddling process. Even when I start a colt and they're wearing a saddle for the very first time, this is how they're standing. I don't have anybody hold a horse. I don't tie the horse up in order to cause them to stand still to be saddled. Kind of a prerequisite for me and my horses that I train and for students that come into my clinics is that your horse ought to stand still just like this for the brushing, for the fly spraying, to be picking their feet, for the saddling. They shouldn't have to be tied. If they need to be tied to be saddled and brushed and stuff, then you should probably drop back and increase your horsemanship and your communication a little bit better so your horse can just stand here like this without needing to be tied up. On a western saddle, you'll always do your front cinch up first. Use your left hand and be facing the rear of the horse. Drop your latigo through your D-ring. And I like to, when I put my latigo through my D-ring, I like to hold my cinch up with my hand and then raise my latigo up. I don't like to just have slack in between my cinch and the horse's belly and then do the latigo up. It's kind of like a slap to their belly with the cinch. I like to hold it up and then bring my latigo up. Run it through your saddle D-ring, your cinch D-ring. I like to run my latigos through my saddle D-ring and then up and through my latigo keeper on my saddle. That makes it smoother than just running it through your latigo. It helps it stay smoother. A lot of times if you just run it through your latigo, the more you ride and the more you're riding over the hills and the rocks, that can work itself loose. So I like to keep it nice and taut and run it through my saddle D-ring and then my saddle latigo keeper. So front cinch and then your back cinch. You don't want to cut them in half. I'm not doing any roping today, but I want that back cinch to be tight enough that if she was swatting at a fly or jumping over a log or something, that she doesn't get a hind foot caught underneath this stirrup, because then you'd be in for a real wreck. So I like to keep it loose but not tight. When you let your stirrup down, don't just pull it and let it flop and hit your horse in the side. You can let it down fast, catch it, and let it down nice and smooth. The last thing we're going to do here is the breast collar. So it's front cinch, rear cinch, and then the breast collar. And like I said, your horse ought to stand still throughout the whole process. Now when you unsaddle your horse, it's complete opposite of how you saddled them. So on a western saddle, we did the front cinch, the rear cinch, and the breast collar. So now we're going to undo the breast collar first. She's got some flies on her. Undo the breast collar. I like to clip it on my D-ring on my offside. And then we'll do the back cinch. And then we'll do the front cinch. And even here, I'll catch that front cinch and I'll make sure that I let it go down easy under her belly so she doesn't smack the inside of that front leg. So just remember, some things to remember is your horse ought to be able to stand tied for all the brushing, the grooming, and the saddling. And if it's a Western saddle, do the front cinch, the back cinch, breast collar if you have it. And then to unsaddle the horse, you do your breast collar, your rear cinch, and then your front cinch. And what that does is if she's at any time during the tacking up or the untacking process, if you say you got a young horse and they decide to booger off on you and they try to kind of buck and take off on you or whatever, they get scared, the first thing to go on is the front cinch, and the last thing to come off is the front cinch. That way if they do decide to booger off, the saddle has less of a chance to roll underneath them. If you have both your cinches undone, but you have your breast collar on, and your horse takes off, well, this whole saddle is going to slide in front of your horse. It's going to scare them. They're going to beat the tar out of your saddle, and it'll be a very bad experience. Same thing if you undo your breast collar, your front cinch, but leave your rear cinch on, and your horse wants to take off. That saddle's going to slide down right here where a flank strap goes on a bucking horse, and they're going to be dancing and leaving hoof prints all over your saddle. It's going to be a real bad day for them and a real bad day for you and your saddle. So I hope you learned something. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to do my cinches back up and go for a ride. Have a good day.